First up on the show is Gil Castillo Jr., Director of Retirement Plans with Platinum Wealth Solutions. I know we've kind of been in this conversation a little bit, but want to kind of actually officially start your segment here. When it comes to 401k plans, obviously Gil is an expert in that field. He's known as the 401k dude. He's been on the show before. So, Gil, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you here.
Mark, Heather, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be back with you guys.
Yeah. We'll keep promoting the show on LinkedIn, man. I'll keep inviting you over here.
Will do.
So, you're a member of Advisory Group's Retirement Plan Advisory Council. What is that?
So basically, Advisor Group is a large organization. It's thousands and thousands of advisors nationwide as part of firms throughout the country. But there's only a few advisors that truly specialize in employee retirement plans. And so I'm part of probably one of 50 advisors nationwide that were selected to be part of the Advisory Council. And we meet throughout the year and discuss things that are going on in the industry. We learn from other thought leaders, and then we kind of bring that back to our home and then use that information. And we also work as a lobby force behind helping the average worker to have access to great employer retirement plans, and business owners to be able to offer these programs to their employees too.
So in your experience, what are some of the biggest challenges new 401k advisors would face? If somebody's going to get into your line of business, this is fascinating to me. Is like, well, first off, how did you get, just real quick, because I know you've been on the show before, but for somebody like leading into this part of the question that I want to ask is, how do you get started in something like this? What motivated you to do that?
So I kind of fell into it. It's not like I grew up one day and said, I'm going to grow up and be a retirement plan or a 401k advisor. I kind of fell into it. And really, once I got into this industry, I fell in love with the industry. I loved the ability of consulting with business owners in the community, helping their employees have improved retirement outcomes. And at the end of the day, really helping those businesses have great benefits to their employees, saving them a bunch of money, taking something that's kind of mundane for them off their plate, let them handle what they do best, and let me handle the employer retirement plan part of the business for them to make sure that their employees can have access to great benefits and better retirement outcomes, really.
Well, if somebody's wanting to do this as a business, get involved in that same in the same line of work, what do they start? What do they do?
Well, my advice really is to learn, right? Do your homework. There's a lot more complexities in terms of dealing with employer plans than it is like being a regular financial advisor, as an example, because you're dealing not only with all the regular IRS laws and investment laws that people have to deal with and the licensing is, but you're also dealing with ERISA, guidelines, Department of Labor guidelines, and specific rules that really impact this industry in general. So it's a lot more complex, and the laws aren't always the same. And so I advise you want to get into this, go in, don't dabble, don't take your foot in, don't be what we call a two-plan Tony. Specialize in this field and be a student of the industry, and I think those are the people that will be successful.
What about licensing and stuff like that? Is there anything they need?
Yeah, typically you're going to have to have your SEC and FINRA registrations. So you can do some things with a life insurance license. Typically, life insurance license agents don't have access to all the I would say more investment savvy or lower cost products that a registered investment advisor would have access to. And so we have, we're completely licensed with not only our life insurance license, but also all of our securities license as well. And that's really what it takes to be able to evaluate all the investments in those plans.
Now, you've been doing this for a while. Is it something that you are looking to build a team beneath you of people that you train in the way that you do things, or are you just you doing it?
Exactly. No, we have a small team right now, but in my big plans, I would like to grow this team and be known as kind of like the retirement plan powerhouse here in South Central Texas, so that we help business owners with not only the employer plans, but also other aspects that they have to deal with. For example, things like other benefits that would benefit them. Those kinds of issues.
So what's the culture of the team that you're building? You're a very relational person. You're a leading member in several boards that I just know of. I'm sure there's more that I don't know of. What's the culture of the people that you want to be in business with you?
Someone who's hungry, wants to learn, is eager to learn, but is also eager to go out there and meet people and shake hands. I think people in our industry, we have to be able to get along with a lot of people, and you have to be able to network, and it's all about helping people with things. For example, I'm part of a number of networking groups. I've met both of you guys at other networking, groups as well. And I have business owners every once in a while that'll reach out to me and they'll say, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And it may be something that I don't do at all. So I may not do that, but you know what? Networking, I know a lot of people that do. So I would refer, this client to, let's say, one of my associates that does, let's say, employee benefits for their company, that does health insurance programs for their company, or that does commercial insurance for their company, those kind of things. I don't do those things, but I know people that do. And that's really how I get a lot of my clients as well, is because those individuals, they might have someone that will ask them about, "Hey, do you do 401ks?" And they're like, "No, I don't do that, but I know an expert that does." And that I get a lot of my business really from referrals.
And I think that's the big thing about networking is if you enjoy being a connector, you're going to get more out of networking than just going and shaking hands and trying to sell everybody that you get in front of. But when you first start networking and people aren't very experienced or they don't understand that bit, it feels like you're just getting sold to again and again and again. Is that something that you look for people to innately understand that connection, or you're able to train that into them?
What I try and do is, it's really more of a training effort, and when I'm having discussions with, guys or girls that do employee benefits or insurance or what have you, because their customers are my customers, their prospects are my prospects, and I kind of give them an idea of the kind of client that I'm looking for, and vice versa. I want to know what kind of client they're looking for, so that when I come across that, that individual or that situation, I know exactly, I know exactly what you need. Let me refer you to so and so.
That's the fun in networking.
It really
for me,
is.
is connecting people together. And really, I found that my networking is much more successful when that's my posture, that's my attitude. It's like, how can I help you? What are you looking for? Who's a good referral partner? And boom, I just start making connections. It's a lot more fun that way.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun getting a phone call from someone who knows you're an active networker, and they're like, "Hey, I know you probably have a guy that does this. Who should I call?" It's always great and gratifying to be able to say, "You know what, I got the exact person you need to talk to. Here's their name and number. Let me get them in touch with you." That's always really cool to be able to do.
How are you expanding your business now? I mean, primarily through networking, or
Primarily-
community outreach, or both?
I try to stay out in the community anyway, but yeah, networking, most of my business comes from referrals. So some of it comes from, networking, people that I meet. Others come from existing clients that are really happy with the service we've given them. And they'll tell friends that, that they network with, "Oh, you're having problems with your 401k? You need to call my guy. He's the 401k dude. He'll help you out." And so it's primarily word of mouth. Yes, I'm out there on LinkedIn, I'm out there on social media, but I think in terms of like actual business that comes in the door is from somebody's mouth. It's from whether it be someone I met through networking or an existing client.
So in your experience, what are some of the biggest challenges that, a 401k rep is going to face?
I think the biggest challenge really would be there's a lot of businesses out there that already have 401ks. The drawback is, they're doing what they do best. They're running their business. It could be a plumber, electrician, or AC person, or a manufacturing company. They're doing that job. They're not experts in their 401k. They may not know that they're paying twice the amount of money they should be. They may not know what good service should be for them. They don't know what their advisor should be doing. So we run reports on a daily basis, and we find plans out there that are lacking. So employer plans, 401ks, 403bs, those kinds of things, they're going to get a score typically by, third-party rating agencies or groups, and usually it's from 1 to 100, right? Like a grade. There are so many plans in this area that are below 50 and failing. And I'm sure those employers have no idea that their plans are receiving failing scores. So sometimes it's getting that business owner to understand, "Hey, I know you've got a 401k, but your plan needs work. Let us take a look at that plan and let us help you," right? So my biggest saying I like to say is, they don't know what they don't know. And so sometimes it's being very delicate when you have that conversation to explain to them, "Hey, these are some things that are wrong with your plan. Bring us on. Let us help you fix it. At the end of the day, we're going to probably save you a ton of money, provide you better service, and then you'll realize the kind of service that you should have been receiving and just weren't."
And I think that's the difference in having a relationship with the people that you do business with, because they come to you with a higher level of trust and they're more willing to be transparent and give you that information versus coming in cold and just door knocking and be like, "Let me take a look at your delicate financial information." It's going to be a hard pause, especially for something like a 401k where if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. I'm sure you run up against that a lot.
You're 100% correct. And really for me, I think the plans where I have the greatest amount of success, especially let's say, faster success is when someone refers you to the person who really handles that, because it's a warm introduction. It's not, you didn't just call someone on the phone and say, hey, I need to talk to so-and-so, because they don't know who you are. But when they receive that referral from a trusted partner that they trust, it opens the door completely for you, and they're more than able to provide you everything you need to help them out.
Yeah, San Antonio's seems like it's very much that way too. Referrals work extremely well. They work well everywhere, but it seems like it's even more ingrained in our system here.
Oh, I was on a call last week with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce because we're doing a program through the San Antonio Chamber, and they were asking me, like, how is San Antonio different? What have you noticed? And that was one of the first things I told them. This is a very relational city. You can't just come in and be able to, plug in transactionally and expect to get all the business, because there are relationships here that people have formed over years, and it's a 300-year-old city, and it's very family and relationally oriented, and they're all like, oh, okay, that's good to know, but it's the nuance of the cities that you go to.
It's a big, small town.
That's a good way to say it. And with of course, with Austin growing and the whole corridor between us, what do they call it? What's the phrase?
It's the Texas Triangle between Austin, San Antonio, and Houston.
Houston, yeah. I don't know. It sounds like a movie or something. The Triangle. All right. Well, Gil, thanks for that. If folks want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Hey, they can reach me directly at 210-998-5008.
Awesome. And then, of course, find you on LinkedIn, right? Gil,
You can find me on
Castillo
LinkedIn.
Jr.
Yes, you can look at Gil the 401k Dude.
Sweet.
Are you at 401k Dude on
I am.
Insta? I love it.